Imagine you find yourself in one of these undesirable situations. Your company has rapidly acquired a handful of small companies and is asking you to tie their networks into yours. You have no idea what their internal network looks like. You've just started a new job and all the network diagrams are years out of date. The architect you just replaced didn't leave you any turnover documentation or lessons learned either. Your IT manager has recently purchased DNA Center but isn't sure how to immediately generate value from it. She wants to integrate it into the existing network but doesn't know where to start. What do these three situations have in common? In each case, there is a gap between what the network looks like and what the engineering team knows. More specifically, DNA Center isn't aware of the network topology, and manually adding devices to the inventory is unlikely to scale in large networks. Consider using the Network Discovery tool instead. DNA Center can discover devices using two approaches. First, it can use IP ranges, where it attempts to connect to every IP in that range using SSH and SNMP. This technique can scan up to 4,096 IP addresses in a single run. The addresses don't need to be contiguous either, but I'm depicting a simplified example. In the case of a new company acquisition where you have no idea what the IP addresses are, you can also use Cisco Discovery Protocol or CDP. Assuming CDP is enabled, DNA Center will dynamically log into devices regardless of their IP addresses. You just supply a single IP as the starting point. This tends to take longer than the IP-based approach, but is generally more dynamic. You might be wondering how DNA Center can access the devices. By default, it uses the global credentials for CLI and SNMP, but you can customize these on a per-discovery basis. Perhaps you use the global credentials in your own well-managed environment, but custom credentials for the newly acquired companies until they are fully integrated. Let's run a few network discoveries in the next clip.